Today, I'm going to give you my thoughts on the Korg Volca Keys after 2 years of owning one.
Freebie.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Freebeat, where I post new music-related content every single day, so if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, be sure to check out my upcoming free live stream concert, Freebeat Live, The Next Level. Today's patron shout-out goes to Adam Pritchard. Thank you so very much for the support. Let's get started. So if you've been following the channel for a while, it may be hard for you to believe, but it's been 2 years since I picked up my Korg Volca Keys. If you're unfamiliar with it, the Korg Volca Keys is a small, portable, optionally battery-powered, true analog synthesizer with 3-voice polyphony and a whole bunch of other play modes, or oscillator types, basically. It's got very basic controls for the oscillator, the filter, the LFO, an envelope, and a simple delay effect, as well as a very simple sequencer, MIDI in, sync in and out, and a 3.5mm audio out jack. That's it. When I picked this up, it retailed for $149 US. It has gone up to $169 US now, and as far as I know, that's the only thing that has changed. Now, you'll notice I mentioned basic and simple a lot in this video, and that's really what the Volca Keys is. It's a simple analog synthesizer with all of the basic controls that you would expect an analog synthesizer to have. There's really no bells or whistles. And that, in my opinion, is what makes it such a fantastic piece of gear. You'll notice that I've now added an Arturia key step into the equation here, controlling the Volca Keys via the MIDI in, and that's because this keyboard is almost impossible to play. In fact, it's not even a keyboard, it's just a strip. Having a proper MIDI controller makes this a much better piece of gear. So a little over a year ago, I actually put out a video which wound up being one of the most popular videos the channel has ever released, talking about the fact that if you just need the very basic analog sounds, like think super bare bones, no, I said bells and whistles, but yeah, no bells and whistles, no frills on top, the Volca Keys is probably all that you need when it comes to analog synth hardware. And I still think that holds up today. As you can hear, it sounds great if that is all you're chasing. Of course, it really helps if you have some external reverb or something to put these sounds through, then this thing will really shine and it turns into just an absolute monster. But in terms of the actual analog synth itself, the Volca Keys is a budget champion. Less than $200 US for some truly tremendous sounds. Didn't that sound good? It is a true analog synth. Awesome. It's also got square wave if you want that too. A lot of people seem to wonder why I feature the Volca Keys so heavily on the channel, and it's just because it is a joy to use, especially for someone like me who doesn't enjoy that much sound design. I like that it's basically knob per function. There's a couple shortcuts when it comes to like your LFO wave shape down here, but that's really it. Everything else has its own function, and this taught me basically from the ground up how a subtractive synthesizer works. I didn't really understand how you could have a filter sweep controlled by the envelope. My only understanding of an envelope was, routed to the oscillator itself in terms of amplitude, dynamics. So when I finally discovered that I could take the filter, turn up how much it is sent to the envelope, and do things like this, my mind was kind of blown, and I began to understand how these things work. As you can hear, just about every sound that comes out of the Volca Keys sounds great, and like I mentioned earlier, through reverb and some basic effects, sounds even better. So yes, after 2 years of owning a Volca Keys, I can very definitively say it's my favorite analog synth that I've ever used. I only technically, I guess, own 2, 3 if you count the Monotron delay. I have this and the Behringer Model D, and the Volca Keys is just so immediate and so easy for me to wrap my head around. Not to mention, most of the time in my music, if I do want some sort of analog type sound, it's one of those classic sounds that the Volca Keys can just whip up in a matter of seconds, which makes it fantastic for me to use. I love that you have the option to take it on the go or power it with the power adapter. I love that it has full 5-pin MIDI right on the front, so you don't have to deal with any BS from like adapters, anything like that. Sync in and out is great when you're using it with things like the pocket operators or other Volcas, which I do have a Volca drum, although I don't really use them together too often because I'm not a big fan of the sequencer in the Volca Keys. I wish it had 1/4 inch out, but that and the sequencer are really my only 2 complaints. I guess you could count the keyboard here, key strip, as a complaint, but that's pretty easily mitigated with a proper MIDI keyboard. Mitigated. Like I said, the sequencer, in my opinion, is not that intuitive to use, and it's definitely a victim of it being the first generation Volca, one of the first generation Volcas anyway. Korg clearly was working some things out. It feels pretty sad when you compare this sequencer to the one in a more current Volca, like the Volca drum, which basically has an Electron style sequencer. It's that good, but that's okay, because first and foremost, this is an analog synth with no bells and whistles, and in that regard, I think it still might be the best one you can get if you're just looking for those basic sounds and don't want to spend over $200 US. Just listen to that. It sounds great. Those are all just sounds coming from the Volca Keys. No external audio in this video at all. At this point, I would also like to take a second and point out that I have done an absolutely horrid job of demonstrating what the Volca Keys can do. This always seems to happen to me when I make videos like this. I'm jamming off camera, coming up with stuff I want to showcase, and it sounds terrific, and then I just can't quite get those sounds back when it comes time to film, so I do apologize for that. However, I do have lots of other Volca Keys content here on the channel, and just on YouTube in general, there are a myriad of wonderful Volca Keys demonstrations, tutorials, walkthroughs, sound design, design guides, what have you. There's so much Volca Keys content. You can really hear just how much this thing shines. So I guess in conclusion, my thoughts on the Volca Keys after owning one for 2 years are that it is still a fantastic piece of gear, a wonderful introduction to subtractive synthesis, and it probably is all you need if all you want is some basic analog synth sounds. I do hope you found this video informative or at least entertaining. If you did, be sure to leave a like on it. If not, you can always hit that big old dislike button. That's okay too. Doesn't hurt my feelings, just makes me try that much harder next time. Either way though, be sure to hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. Thank you all so very much for being here. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.